Hello and welcome to the Feminine Millionaire Show. I'm your host, Polly Alexander, and I'm a success coach, healer, creative, and future millionaire. If creating money and success in a spiritual and feminine way is your goal, this show is for you. Understand how to overcome your past, bring your soul's greatest gifts to the world, and up-level your income, impact, joy, and happiness. Join me each week to be inspired and uplifted as you learn the business, mindset, energetic, and spiritual shifts you can make to create your own wildly abundant life and business. Let's all rise together. Today I'm diving into one of my absolute favorite business topics, branding. I believe that your personal brand has an incredible role to play in the success of your business. Your brand is an expression of who you are and what you are here to do in the world. It's how you share your values. It's what attracts your ideal clients to want to work with you, and it's what distinguishes you from everybody else in your market. For me, branding is one of the aspects that I most love about running my own business. It's creative, it's fun, it's a beautiful way to express yourself. And for me, beauty is one of my core values, and it's a way of connecting with and expressing beauty in the world. I have had the privilege of working with some truly incredible designers over the last 17 years of running my own businesses on different brands and different projects. And today I'm bringing on my current designer, Luci Burgess Farwell, and she's going to be diving into exactly what a brand is and how it works when you decide to commission a brand, what's involved, what are the different aspects of the process, and how can you work successfully with a designer. I fell in love with branding when I started my first business as a wedding photographer. I received a grant of £1,200, which was quite a bit of money all the way back then, and I made the decision to invest that grant in hiring a professional brand designer and having a professional website built. So I put the entire amount of money into creating my brand. I'd only actually shot 2 weddings at the time. And I put my website up, had these beautiful little brochures I'd made with images. This is before I was shooting digitally. This was before digital shooting was really out there. It was just starting to come in, but digital cameras were pretty expensive and most people didn't yet have one. And within literally a couple of months of starting my business, I had a call from the editor of one of the top wedding magazines. She left me a voicemail and she said, "Oh, Polly, we absolutely love your work, love your website, love your brand. We'd like to publish your work." Now, for someone that wasn't even full-time in her business yet, I had a part-time job 3 days a week. I was just starting out. I'd only shot 2 weddings. This was testament to that being one of the most powerful investments I could have made. It elevated my work and my positioning into the market to a level that even the editors were aspiring to publish my work. And I was literally 2 weddings in. So I politely explained that I didn't yet have any suitable summer weddings to submit, but I would keep them as priority and I would submit as soon as I could. And I went on to have a long career of being published in wedding magazines, which was really pivotal to my success. Your brand is what makes you stand out from everyone else there. It's how you express who you are, your unique qualities, your gifts, and it's what's going to attract people in. So I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's packed full of useful advice, of wisdom, and of powerful perspectives. And we actually have a bit of a giggle. Luci has been a member of my inner circle for a number of years now. So I think you're really going to enjoy today's episode. It's fun, it's informative, and it's powerful. Enjoy diving in. So I am super excited today to welcome Luci Burgess Farwell, a member of my own team who runs the Eileva Tide Studio, a branding, web and launch design and strategy studio for female-run spiritual and creative businesses. Luci's been designing brands and websites for almost 10 years, and she takes a unique, holistic approach to her design work. Her design is very intuitively led to ensure the end results resonates both with her clients and their dream target market, and stays in style for years to come. She's also super fun, super smart, and a bit of an all-round superstar. So welcome, Lucy.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. What an intro.
I know. Bask in it, soak it up.
Love it.
So I'm passionate about branding, as you know. I've invested a fair percentage of my business income with your company. And branding's been important, as I've just shared with everyone, since I started my very first business as a photographer 17 years ago. I'm absolutely passionate about the power of a brand to elevate the experience of the clients and to elevate your business. But I would love to start by hearing from you. Why is branding so important?
Yeah, totally. So I feel like a lot of people sort of overlook branding. They think, oh, I'll just get a logo template from something like Etsy or Creative Market and I'll come back to it later. But actually, your brand is sort of everything. And I'm sure we'll cover this topic a bit later on, but brand is so much more than even just a logo in and of itself. Your brand is your business before words. So when someone lands on your website, it's the theory behind the colors that are used and the placement of things and the intention and the feeling behind it that sort of make that first impression of your business on anyone that comes across it. So if your branding isn't on point, then someone could be completely turned off. And I see this all the time. And when I have discovery calls with clients, how I've sort of done my homework, I've Googled them before we speak, sort of learn a bit about them. And I have almost like a preconceived idea of what they'll be like from their existing visual presence, their existing sort of brand that's around online on their website and things. And then I speak to them and it's like a completely different experience. And I say, there is nothing of you in your brand. I never would have thought that you were so bubbly or so open or so fun or so funny. So your brand really is a way of communicating your business values and everything that you're about before you get the chance to make that personal connection with them yourself.
So you're saying it's kind of like when we unconsciously make a first impression about someone. We jump before we've even spoken to them. So it's kind of like that. I think they say like 80% of what you feel or think about someone is determined before you've even spoken to them. So I sort of take that analogy to the brand. It's like people are already making up their mind before they've even connected with you.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, the don't judge a book by its cover, but if you're looking for someone to work with or to invest in, the cover's pretty much all you have until you speak to them. The cover is what encourages you to take the next step to speak to them. So the cover has to be pretty, it has to look nice on your shelf.
Totally. And I think where you can convey so much through powerful design and imagery.
Yeah.
That can tip somebody over into feeling like, yeah, you're my kind of person. I resonate with you, or you're going to get me. I know I recently hired someone that I had no referrals for, practitioner in another country, and it was her brand. I was like, wow, I really like this person's style. I like what they're about. I like the feel of them. And that made me reach out and have a connection.
Yeah, definitely. So many people that I speak to, because I tend to sort of bandied my way into this niche of working with, spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches. And almost all of them say, I came to you because I saw your website or I saw your Instagram feed and I just knew. And that's what a brand is. It's looking at someone's online presence and just having that gut feeling like, yes, this is the person that I want to speak with. A lot of people have brand loyalties and things because they like how that particular brand of, I don't know, whatever it is, looks in their pantry or on their gin, on their like home bar cart or something, because they love how it looks and they love how it makes them feel. You want to work with businesses that you feel aligned with, that you feel inspired by. So it's exactly the same when you are choosing who to work with. You want to work with people who are aligned with your own style and your own values, but also people that will inspire you, especially obviously if you're working with a coach or someone who's going to be improving your business or even yourself. You want to feel that motivation and that inspiration. And I think beauty in visuals is a great place to start with that.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that people struggle with is the saying, oh, there's a lot of competition. And this is in any field, whether you're a photographer, a designer, a coach, there's always going to be an awareness. There's a lot of practitioners out there. And I think that this is how you can differentiate yourself from the get-go.
Yeah, totally. In a saturated market, honestly, it's the most powerful tool in your arsenal, because especially if you're working as something which is, I don't know, like certification based, where anyone could apply and do the learning and get the certificate to say that they do this thing, your brand and your visuals and the feeling that your business gives across is the only thing that is completely unique to you.
So tell me, what makes a powerful personal brand in your opinion?
For me personally, it's infusing, I mean, maybe I'm a bit biased because all of my clients are their businesses. They are the face of it. They're coaches, they're healers, they are thought leaders, all of these things. So they are their own business. But for me personally, it's finding the right balance between infusing a bit of them in their brand and also letting their brand speak for itself. A lot of people get tied into what they see on Pinterest or Instagram, and there are so many beautiful things on there to be inspired by. But I think the most important thing is actually staying true to what feels right for your business and for your brand. And when you find that, the soul of it, I like to call it the soul of the business. When you find that soul of the business, it's really hard to actually get it wrong when it comes to the design, because there is only one way in which it would feel right. So it's so much more than just having a logo and some colors and some fonts. It's everything. It's the imagery that you use. It's where it's placed. It's how the fonts play off each other. It's how you use space. Space is a huge one. You could have the most beautiful brand, but if you have absolutely no knowledge of spacing and placement of things, it will look like a mess. So it really is about creating almost like if you imagine like you were designing a beautiful home, that's how I think of a brand. It's like you're inviting someone into your home. You're going to want to show your best bits. You're going to tidy up. You're going to take them to the nicely decorated room rather than the family room. And it's really putting the client's essence into the heart of it and sort of letting the brand speak for itself through really cohesive visuals, a beautiful color palette, taking into consideration how the brand feels. If it feels nurturing and warm and soft, you're probably not going to want aqua blues and bright yellows. And some clients will come to you and they'll say, oh, my favorite color is bright turquoise and daffodil yellow. But maybe they're like a gut health coach or something, which is all about nurturing and feeling gratitude and nourishing themselves. And to me, nothing screams less like that than daffodil yellow and bright turquoise. So It's also about striking the balance between what they want and actually what's right for their brand and for their business.
Yeah, I have so many ideas. She's created so many different brands. Not only she created the brand for my company and my website, but we've also kind of got into creating mini brands for my different programs. I have to say, I absolutely love the process of branding, and I love collaborating with you as well.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how to create a successful working relationship shortly, and I'll share more about my experience with Luci. But just as a little tangent, what's one of your favorite brands and why?
Ooh, I love this question. There are so many. As a brand designer, I am such a magpie for a beautiful branding. Like, it is something that will make me spend, say, like £6 on a tub of Malden sea salt rather than £2 on the Tesco one or something like that. Like, I'm such a sucker for beautiful design. At the moment, one of my favorite brands is actually Dalesford, which is like an organic farm shop in the UK. They really hit the nail on the head so well with making you feel their brand presence, even just from having like a little pot of tomato and chili chutney on the side. Like, you really feel that essence of homeliness and from the earth, and it's so organic and it's all homegrown and British heritage sort of feel. And I love, 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 love everything that they're doing right now. Another one, just because I can't only name one because I'm just such a magpie for it, is actually a brand called the Nap Co., who do my favorite pajamas in the world. They do silk pillowcases and pajamas and things. And their Instagram is just swoon worthy. And just looking at it, you just want to get into their pajamas and just like stay in the soft office all day. And everything they do is so considered and so thought out. Even in the little cards that you get in your deliveries, they have like a signature perfume that they spray all of the bags that your pajamas get delivered to you in. Just everything is so thought out and considered. And I think that's what really creates brand loyalty, is that experience of using something or working with someone that feels so special and elevated.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Brought to mind when we've had some fun creating branded gifts for my live events over the last few years. So when I launched Thrive Beautifully, my mastermind, it had live events in LA and Ibiza as part of the experience. So we created custom leather travel tags, luggage tags to send out to people to put on their luggage when they travel to the destinations. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I still have mine.
You still have yours?
I have my little keychain with my name on it that's on my keys every day.
Oh, yeah, sadly we got grounded. So the custom luggage tags are not so on point right now. Now, tell me, what's the difference between a logo and full brand development? I think it's really important that people understand this.
Yes, thank you for asking this question. It is probably my biggest gripe as a brand designer when people say, oh, I just need a logo. The difference between a logo and a full brand sort of discovery or development, a logo in a very literal world, I can build a logo in about 7 minutes. But a full brand discovery can take upwards of 8 weeks to do well and to do in a way that is going to be timeless and can last, a decade plus. It's really looking at who the business is as a person. I like to have my clients do a visualization exercise where they imagine that their business is a person and describing their day from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed. So we can really get a sense of who this person is, and really looking into the brand values and what the client wants their brand to exude on the outside. From there, we go into quite a deep, detailed research period, which tends to last, if we're not on a super tight deadline, it tends to last sort of 2 to 3 weeks of really in-depth research into, I don't like the term competitors, I prefer horizontal market partners, but we look at their horizontal market partners and we look at the commercial viability of what it is that they're doing and look at their potential ideal clients, and then see what values resonate between both the brand and the target client, where that meets in the middle with their offering. Is that aligned? And from that place, we can then take it to the fun bit, which is the design. So when we work with mood boards, I tend to do a couple. So I will do one of like inspirational images, so the sorts of images that make you feel the essence of the brand. And then I'll do another one for design inspiration. And they could look completely different, but it all wraps up nicely at the end. From that place, when we've nailed the feel, which can take sort of 3 weeks on its own to nail how the brand feels, then we move into actually crafting a logo. It's never a one and done situation. I think maybe 2 or 3 times ever I've sent the first draft and it's been signed off at the first draft, and it always you feel like such a boss when that happens. But it's not the norm. It's certainly not the norm. And we'll put together some initial logo concepts, and that can take a couple of weeks because we're really playing around with spacing and alignment and movement to make sure that it feels all correct and that everything lines up nicely and it's still getting across that message. Then we'll move on to the colors and the fonts, putting up some sort of mock-ups so you can see like how your brand will look and feel in the real world. That's always really exciting to get the ideas flowing and the juices flowing. But a brand development really is giving your ideas wings, is how I think of it. Like it's putting this idea into reality. Anyone can make a logo. You can open up Pages or Word and make a logo and screenshot it, and that can be a logo if you really want to, but it's never, ever going to have the same impact as going for a professional branding experience.
Great. Thank you so much for explaining that so clearly.
Of course. Thank you.
And one of the things that I'm proud of is the successful working relationship that we've created over the last 3.5 years since you started your design studio.
Yeah.
We've worked on many projects. I actually haven't counted them, but there's definitely been a lot of design projects. And I will hold my hands up and say, I am very demanding. I don't know what Lucy's going to say.
You are for sure my most discerning client.
There we go. There we go. I kind of knew she was going to say that. I am a frustrated designer that doesn't know how to use InDesign, but loves to get her hands dirty and art direct. So as an ex-photographer, so those of you that don't know, I was actually a full-time professional photographer for well over a decade. So I have these creative urges. I have very strong creative ideas about what I like and what I don't like. And I'm a bit of a font Nazi. I'm very specific about my fonts. Don't know where that comes from. And working with Lucy has been a real joy. She has the ability, which I think is so important for a powerful creative, to listen to her clients' ideas and then to incorporate them where relevant, but also to take a stand for her own ideas and not to take it personally if I don't like something or I want to try something different. And it takes me back to my photography days. And I always remember as a wedding photographer, I had to have the ability not to take it personally if someone didn't like a photo, because it wasn't about me and my abilities. It was about maybe she didn't like her hair. I always remember one wedding client saying, the photos are amazing, but I don't like any of them because I hate my hair. And I was like, wow, yeah, there's nothing more I could have done.
Yeah,
this is what it is.
Out of your hands.
So I think you have that wonderful ability not to take it personally when I want to try something different. And often I'll experiment with something. I'll be like, okay, yeah, you were right. Yeah. That doesn't work. But I think you've got this wonderful ability to explain things, to be super creative, to be visionary, to really, really get me and get what I'm after. And now we're at a point where I can just kind of say, yeah, can you kind of do something a bit like X, Y, and Z? And you'll be like, yeah. And you'll nail it. We've just finished a sales page actually today, haven't we?
Yeah. I was going to mention it, but I didn't know if it was a super secret or not.
Well, by the time this comes out, it's birthing. It won't be out yet, but we've been giving My Money Beautifully program, we've been giving her a makeover. Yeah. It's time for her to grow up.
Yeah, and she put on a few pounds in lockdown and we're giving her like Princess Diaries moment.
She's looking hot, let me just say that. She is looking hot. There'll be a new girl in town. So she'll be making her debut in April when we reopen the doors. So stay tuned for that. But Lucy's done a really, really beautiful job on the sales page and on the rebrand on that, which I'm really excited about. But coming back to sharing some tips for working with a graphic designer, what I've seen in coaching clients over the last few years and helping them commission designers to work with is sometimes there's unrealistic expectations. So sometimes they'll expect the designer to get it straight away and they'll come back to me as the coach and say, I don't like it. And I always have to explain, like, it's normal. They're sharing a group of ideas to understand you better. It's highly likely that you won't nail it in the first time, just like you shared.
Yeah.
And so I think from the client side, it's really important to have realistic expectations, not to be scared to share what you like and what you don't like.
Yes.
Because a graphic designer needs to have your feedback and you need to figure out what you want. And I think your onboarding process and the process that you work with is so, so important, because by getting to know the client more and clients by participating in that process, you're going to get a better result from your designer. And then I also think there needs to be patience. And as I've learned, some things just don't work online.
Very true.
Sometimes you just can't have everything you want. So manage your expectations. So those are my tips, client side. Now, from the designer side, what advice would you have for someone commissioning a brand designer?
Yeah, totally. So the first thing that comes to mind when you ask that question is very similar to your final point, which is to trust your designer. For sure, it's a collaborative process and you put in as much as you take out from a brand design experience or a brand development collaboration, in that, the more information that you can give your designer, the better the first outcome is going to be. So often, as I mentioned before with like the color example, clients will say, oh, I really like their brand. Can we do something like that? And I have to say to them, look, if it's not going to feel right for your business, no, I can't do that. It would be out of integrity for me as a brand designer to create something off the rack if it wasn't going to give you longevity. It's a big investment. It can be a scary investment if, for a lot of people, it's the first big chunk of money that they spend on their business. It can be very scary and they want to control it all. But the number one thing I would say is to trust your designer. They're the professional in this. They will use their better judgment on things like colors and spacing and typography. And yes, 100%. It's unlikely you're going to love it all on the first round, but that's where the collaboration then begins. So you can sort of work back and forth, working out different color tones and such. Another thing is quite often people will provide really vague feedback, which is about as good as giving no feedback whatsoever. So if you're finding it challenging to provide feedback on what it is that you want to change, the likelihood is that the designer just hasn't got the feel right first time. So maybe they could go back to the sort of initial concepts on how the brand feels or how the business feels to nail it down a little bit more. And also, if you're struggling to provide feedback, focus on the things that you know that you do like, and then focus on the things that you specifically don't like. So when we ask for feedback, we're not asking for you to make suggestions on maybe we do the logo this way, or maybe we use this font. What we're looking for is guidance on what you do like and what you don't like. So we can focus more on what you do and hand that up a bit and sort of remove the elements that you don't. In fact, you sort of said all of the tips that I would, in all honesty, but on the patience piece, clients tend to get super, super excited after the discovery call and they think, yes, this is the designer for me. I've nailed it. And then they get really excited. They get their proposal, they sign their contract, they pay their deposit, and then fear sets in. And it's like, oh my God, I'm trusting this person with my baby, with my business. I really hope they get it right. Clients can be terrified to open up that first brand presentation. So much so that quite often in the first few weeks, when they've paid their nice hefty deposit and then they're waiting on that first presentation, it can be really nerve-wracking. And, chasing and saying, oh, well, I need it by this date or I need it by that date isn't always productive to the design process to get it perfect. Polly, you and I were having this conversation just, I think, yesterday on giving something the time to get it right as opposed to rushing something out for the sake of it. And I think that's so important with branding. Otherwise, what's the point in making such a high ticket investment if you're going to have to change it again in a couple of years? So trusting the process, exercising as much patience as you can. If you're really getting nail bitey, then maybe your designer might send you a little sneak peek of a mood board that they're working on. And just, trusting their knowledge and their abilities to uncover what's right for your business and not being too easily influenced by every other brand on Pinterest that are all a dime a dozen.
Great tips. Thank you. And I'd add to that on that last point is, as a client, be coachable by your designer because they're the experts. So listen to them. And I've watched you evolve, Lucy, over the years and become more and more confident in justifying your choices.
Yes.
And you'll say to me, okay, well, I think we should do this. And these are the reasons why. And quite often she'll persuade me to go with her idea. She's pretty smart, this one. But be available for be curious. Ask them, okay, so why do you think that's going to work better? Or why do you think that works?
Mm-hmm.
And really allow yourself to receive their knowledge and their wisdom because they've worked, they're experts in the field.
Yeah, totally. And when they get that brand presentation, try your very best not to just scroll all the way past all the logic and all the reason and all the meaning and just look at the logo. Because so often we will justify our choices earlier on in the presentation when we break down what the brand is, what it feels like, who the customer is. And maybe it depends obviously on the designer that you work with, but I tend to send a presentation and a Loom video sort of going over the presentation myself and almost like pre-justifying the decisions that I make. And I do this with you too, Polly, with sales pages. If I'm sending something that I think is a bit risque,
she sure does. I'm not allowed to see it until I've watched the Loom.
I'm like, watch this first so that you understand my logic. But try not to rush ahead just to preview the fun stuff. Take a moment and really feel into the thought process that the designer has put into it, because that's a surefire way to look at a design with 100% subjectivity as opposed to objectivity, which is what you get when you take into consideration how the brand is meant to feel, what season it sits in, if we're talking color psychology, and all of that good stuff.
So I think we understand that there's really a lot more than we may think at first sight involved in designing a powerful personal brand. That comes with an investment. And as you touched on already, that can be scary. So how can people justify the cost of investing in professional brand? I can't say this sentence. That band design. If you were designing a band, would there be a guitarist, a drummer, two lead singers, and backing singers? Okay, try again. So how can people justify the cost of investing in professional brand design?
So I feel like when you have a beautifully designed brand or a beautifully designed business, it almost sets you on another level. It elevates your entire business to where you can charge the premiums. I remember you telling me that you invested in a beautiful brand for your photography business before you were fully established. And that sort of gave you the essence of this super experienced, loads and loads of work under their belt, beautiful, beautiful brand identity. And that's partly why so many people can justify that investment, is because it allows them to then charge a premium. If they look the part, they will feel the part, they will deliver the part. Also, a good brand design, you can work with brand designers who are starting out and maybe they only charge a couple of £100 and the process takes, 10 days to 2 weeks. I've seen people offering brand design projects at 2-week turnaround times, and it just stresses me out even thinking about it. But if you are investing at a higher level in the few £1,000s range, you can be pretty positive that that brand design is going to last you a good 10 years, if not more. Quite often, people who've had a professional brand design before, they change their brand because they are tired of it or they just want something new and fresher. But if your designer is someone who really looks at the meaning behind the brand and how it's meant to feel and designs something with that in mind, it's unlikely that the feeling of your business is ever going to go out of style. So you're also investing in timelessness, in, as we said right at the start, you choose who you work with. A lot of us choose who we work with based on how things look. So you'll probably find that you will get more business just by looking more professional. If you could have every degree and every certification under the planet, but if you're using a very basic sort of off the shelf black and white Squarespace template with no customization, no branding elements, no one is going to stay on that website for more than 2.5 seconds before getting bored and clicking off. Whereas if you're creating an environment which feels inspiring, sort of on impact, then you're going to be the person that they invest with.
Thank you. Thank you for diving so deeply into all things branding.
Of course, my pleasure.
Super, super cool. It's one of the biggest ways I feel that you can elevate your business impact and your business revenue.
Yeah.
So I just want to wrap up with a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What is true abundance for you?
Ooh, I think for me, true abundance is not being tied to my laptop. It is having the freedom to enjoy the home that I've been able to purchase, the life that I'm able to lead, and to put my own wants and needs first. For me, that's what abundance feels like.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing such an amazing insight into your journey, your background, your story, and the power of a personal brand and how that can help people elevate their mission in the world, their work in the world. What are you working on right now and how can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so I've actually just launched something called the Spring Forward Seminars, which is happening every Thursday in April, starting April 1st. And every Thursday, I'm basically going to be doing a 90-minute training on a different topic. And one of them is actually about branding. And I've basically made it so people can sort of customize their experience. So they can like pick and mix which sessions they want to attend, or they can get the whole shebang with a nice little discount in the bundle. But yeah, that's the thing that I'm most looking forward to in April. I get so inspired in spring. So I wanted to really bring that to others. And you can find out more on my Instagram. I share pretty much everything that I'm working on over there, which is Eileva Tide Studio.
Amazing. And we'll put links in the notes to Luci's spring sessions coming right up next week.
Yeah.
And to her Instagram as well and website. So thank you so much, firstly, for all of the work that you've done for me and my business and my mission over the last few years. You have been the most professional, inspirational, dedicated superstar designer and all-round superstar in my business, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. And thank you so much for opening up your wisdom and your knowledge today to help everybody listening to this podcast and to inspire them as to the power and joy of creating a personal brand. So huge thank you to you.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for having me and for showing me what on earth a money mindset is. Because I'm pretty positive that if I hadn't met you, I never would have taken the path I have. So I owe it all to you.
And you're just beginning. She's 27. Are you 27?
28.
She's 28. Yeah.
28 and a half.
All right. She's 28 and a half. She's less than 30. I can't wait to see what you create over the coming decades. I know that there's going to be so much more unfolding for you. So thank you for being an inspiration to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you all again next week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of the Feminine Millionaire Show. If you're enjoying the show, could you do me a favor? I would absolutely love you to leave a review on iTunes. It's super simple. Just hit the star rating, enter a few words, and then hit send. It makes a huge difference and helps spread the word that more abundance is available to everyone. Now, I'm super excited to announce that the doors will be reopening very soon to Money Beautifully, my powerful program for clearing your money blocks. And to celebrate, I have a powerful free 15-minute energy clearing to help you hold on to more money available when you sign up to the waitlist. Plus, you'll receive a very special discount only for waitlist members. So on the energy clearing, it's going to help you release any unworthiness, doubt, and fear about more abundance coming in and opening up to truly and deeply receiving it. You're going to be guided to how to be safe with money, how to be safe with more money, how to be comfortable with more money, and what it looks like and feels like to thrive financially. You'll learn how to tap into an infinite amount of money and abundance that's available to you right now. Super, super powerful and all in 15 minutes. So go to moneybeautifully.com to sign up for the waitlist now and check out the link in the show notes. I'm going to be on holiday today. I'm going to be tapping into the abundance of time and space and beauty and love and fun and all the good things. So I can't wait to see you when I'm back again next week. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye for now.